Marcus Chen adjusted his navy suit jacket as he stepped onto the Boeing 787, his leather briefcase in hand. The tech CEO had built Synergy Tech from a garage startup into a billion-dollar empire, and today he was flying to Singapore to close the deal of his lifetime. The first-class cabin gleamed with polished wood and cream leather seats. Marcus found 2A, his assigned seat by the window, and settled in with a satisfied sigh. "Excuse me, sir." A sharp voice cut through the peaceful cabin. Flight attendant Patricia Morgan stood in the aisle, her blonde hair pulled back tight, her smile completely absent. "I think you're in the wrong section. Economy is toward the back." Marcus looked up, confused. "No, this is my seat. 2A, here's my boarding pass." He held up his phone, showing the digital ticket clearly. Patricia barely glanced at it. Her lips pressed into a thin line. "Sir, I don't know how you got that, but this section is for first-class passengers only. You need to move now before we have a problem." Other passengers were turning to watch. Marcus felt heat rising in his chest, but he kept his voice steady and measured. "Ma'am, I paid for this seat. Check your manifest." "Marcus Chen." "I'm not moving." Patricia's face flushed red. She leaned closer, lowering her voice to a harsh whisper. "Listen, I don't know what game you're playing, but I've dealt with people like you before. Don't make me call security." "People like me?" Marcus repeated, his eyebrows raised. "What exactly does that mean?" A woman across the aisle had her phone out, recording. An older man in Sanxi shifted uncomfortably. Patricia ignored the question entirely. "David, come here please," she called to another flight attendant. A younger man hurried over, looking nervous. "We have a situation. This gentleman refuses to return to his correct seat." David glanced at Marcus, then at Patricia, uncertainty crossing his face. "Did you check his ticket?" "I don't need to check anything. I know who belongs in first class and who doesn't." Patricia crossed her arms. "Call the captain." "And security." Marcus pulled out his wallet, extracting his Black American Express card and his business card. "Before you do that, you might want to see this. I'm the CEO of Synergy Tech. I fly this route monthly. And I guarantee you're making a serious mistake." Patricia didn't even look at the cards. "Oh, so now you're claiming to be some big shot executive. That's a new one. Security is coming, and you're going to be escorted off this plane." The cabin had gone completely silent. Every passenger was watching now, multiple phones recording the exchange. Marcus remained seated, his hands folded calmly in his lap, though his jaw was tight. "I'm not going anywhere. I have every right to be here." Two security officers appeared at the entrance to first class. Patricia pointed at Marcus triumphantly. "There he is. He's refusing to move to his assigned seat and causing a disturbance." "Actually, no," a deep voice said from behind them. Everyone turned. The co-pilot, James Rodriguez, stood in the cockpit doorway, his eyes wide with recognition. "That's Marcus Chen. He's telling the truth." Patricia spun around. "What?" "I saw him on the business news last week. He just closed a $300 million merger." James walked forward, his face a mixture of shock and anger. "He's absolutely a first-class passenger. What's going on here?" The color drained from Patricia's face, but she recovered quickly. "Well, he didn't show me proper identification when I asked." "That's a lie," the woman with the phone spoke up. "I recorded the whole thing. He showed you his boarding pass immediately. You refused to look at it." The security officers exchanged glances. One of them checked his tablet. "Sir, you're Marcus Chen. Seat RA." "That's correct. He's registered properly. There's no issue with his ticket." Patricia's mouth opened and closed like a fish. David, the other flight attendant, took a step back, distancing himself from his colleague. I want to speak to the captain, Marcus said quietly. Now. James nodded. Captain Walker, can you come out here please? Captain Sarah Walker emerged from the cockpit, a tall woman with silver-streaked hair and sharp gray eyes that missed nothing. She assessed the scene immediately, her gaze moving from Marcus to Patricia to the crowd of watching passengers. Someone explain what happened. Quickly. 3 passengers spoke at once, then the woman with the phone stepped forward. Captain, I have video. This flight attendant accused him of being in the wrong section, refused to check his ticket, threatened him, and called security, all because. She paused meaningfully. Well, you can draw your own conclusions. Captain Walker's expression hardened. Send me that video. Right now. She turned to Patricia. Did you check his boarding pass? He looked. Yes or no? No, but did you verify his seat assignment before calling security? Patricia's silence was answer enough. Captain Walker pulled out her radio. Ground control, this is flight 447. I need the passenger manifest for first class sent to my tablet immediately. She looked at Marcus. Mr. Chen, I apologize for this treatment. Please remain seated. Marcus nodded, his heart still pounding. The tablet beeped. Captain Walker scrolled through it, her face growing darker with each second. Patricia Morgan, you're removed from this flight effective immediately. David Chen, you're taking over her duties. But Captain Patricia started. You discriminated against a paying passenger based on appearance, refused to follow protocol, and created a hostile environment. You're done. This is ridiculous. You're overreacting. A man in seat 1A stood up, tall and imposing in an expensive suit. Everyone turned to look at him. Actually, Captain Walker is showing remarkable restraint. Patricia went pale. Mr. Harrison. Richard Harrison. CEO of Pacific Airways. The airline you work for. His voice was ice cold. I was planning to enjoy this flight anonymously, but that's obviously not happening now. The entire cabin seemed to freeze. Harrison walked forward slowly, his eyes never leaving Patricia. I've been sitting here listening to you harass and humiliate one of our most valuable customers. I watched you ignore evidence, refuse to follow basic procedures, and make assumptions based purely on racial bias. Sir, I can't explain no. You can't. Harrison turned to Captain Walker. Sarah, I want full access to crew records. Has Patricia had complaints before? Captain Walker was already pulling up files. Her face went grim. Yes, sir. 3 formal complaints in the past year. All involving passengers of color. All downplayed by management. Harrison's jaw clenched. Get me regional HR on the line. Now. Within minutes, a video call was established with the airline's regional human resources director. Harrison didn't waste time with pleasantries. Jennifer, I'm on flight 447. We have a serious situation. I want Patricia Morgan terminated immediately. Full investigation into why her previous complaints were ignored. I want the names of every manager who signed off on keeping her employed. Patricia started crying. Please, I need this job. I have bills. You should have thought about that before you decided Mr. Chen didn't belong in first class. Harrison turned to Marcus. Mr. Chen, on behalf of Pacific Airways, I offer you our deepest apologies. Your next 10 flights with us are complimentary, upgraded to our premium suite class. Marcus shook his head slowly. I don't want free flights, Mr. Harrison. I want systemic change. How many other passengers has she done this to? How many people were too afraid to fight back? The question hung in the air. Harrison nodded slowly. You're absolutely right. Jennifer, I want a full audit of discrimination complaints across all our flights. I want new mandatory training for every crew member. And I want a direct hotline established for passengers to report incidents without going through supervisors who might bury them. He looked around at the other flight attendants who had gathered. Let me be crystal clear. This company will not tolerate discrimination of any kind. If you see it, you report it. If you participate in it, you're fired. No exceptions. No second chances. David, the younger flight attendant, raised his hand tentatively. Sir, I should have spoken up sooner. I knew something was wrong, but I didn't want to contradict a senior crew member. That takes courage to admit, Harrison said. But silence enables discrimination. Next time, you speak up immediately. Yes, sir. Captain Walker had security escort Patricia off the plane. The woman left in tears, her career in ruins. The cabin remained tense and quiet. Marcus finally exhaled, the adrenaline starting to fade. His hands were shaking slightly. The woman who had recorded everything leaned across the aisle. Thank you for standing your ground, she said softly. My son is 14. He needs to see that you don't back down when people treat you wrong. Marcus managed a small smile. It shouldn't take a CEO to be treated with basic respect. No, Harrison agreed, overhearing. It shouldn't. And that's going to change. The flight to Singapore was smooth after that. James, the co-pilot who had recognized Marcus, was promoted to senior first officer on the spot. David took over first-class service and treated every passenger with genuine warmth and professionalism. Harrison spent the flight on his laptop, drafting new policies and firing off emails to executives. Marcus stared out the window at the clouds below, thinking about all the people who had faced similar situations without cameras recording, without sympathetic witnesses, without a CEO happening to be on board. He pulled out his phone and started typing a statement for his company's social media. When they landed in Singapore 13 hours later, the video had already gone viral. News outlets were covering the story. Pacific Airways stock had dipped, but their announcement of sweeping anti-discrimination reforms was being praised. Patricia Morgan's firing was headline news. Marcus's phone wouldn't stop ringing. Interview requests poured in. But he had a meeting to get to, a deal to close. Life moved forward. 3 months later, Pacific Airways reported a 42% increase in passengers of color choosing their flights. Their new training program became an industry standard. Marcus received a personal letter from Harrison, thanking him for forcing change that should have happened decades ago. Justice, Marcus reflected, sometimes arrived in unexpected moments, 30,000 feet in the air, when someone finally decided enough was enough. And that gave him hope, real hope, that the next person who boarded a plane would be judged by their ticket, not their skin. The fight wasn't over. It never really was. But today, this one time, things had gone right, and that mattered more than any business deal ever could.